Everyone thinks bottled water is the first item to grab at Costco when the grid fails. It is not even in the top three. I have spent years working grid down scenarios, from Hurricane Maria recovery in Puerto Rico to the Texas February 2021 freeze, plus overseas infrastructure failures during military contract work. Here is what I learned the hard way. The items that actually save your life are not the ones flying off the pallets at the front of the warehouse. They are sitting in sections of Costco that nobody checks during a panic. There is one item sitting in the Costco feminine hygiene section, a product that combat medics have carried into conflict zones since the Vietnam era, and no civilian in full panic mode is touching it. 12 items, one cart, under 3 hours. While everyone else is throwing elbows over the last flat of water, you will already be rolling your cart toward the exit with everything you actually need. Before we start, let me set the clock. You have 3 hours, maybe less. In Puerto Rico, after Maria hit in 2017, Costco stores were stripped clean in under 3 hours, parking lots jammed, registers overwhelmed, shelves wiped to the drywall. In Texas, during the February 2021 freeze, bulk retailers emptied before most people even realized the grid was down. Families who waited until the second the power blinked off walked into empty buildings. Hurricane Helene hit Appalachia in the fall of 2024, and regional Costco locations in North Carolina reported empty pallets within 90 minutes of the storm surge warning. 90 minutes. That is not a shopping trip. That is a race. The next event might give you 60 minutes before the first stampede hits the doors. Plan for 60, and you have a margin. Wait too long, and you are standing in an empty parking lot, watching someone else load your supplies into their truck. The other problem is rice, beans, and canned chicken are already gone by the time you walk through the door. Every panic starts at the same aisles. Everyone reaches for the same brands. The people who survive these events, the ones who walk out with a full cart while the parking lot turns into a horn-honking mess, they are not in the soup aisle. They are in the 6 sections of Costco that civilians never think to check. The 12 items I am about to walk through are what you grab when you already know the obvious shelves will be empty. Every single item is at Costco, every single item is under $50, and every single item solves a problem that nobody talks about until it is already too late. Let us go. Number 1, bottled water. Yes, it is the obvious one. That is exactly the problem. During Hurricane Ian, entire Costco water pallets cleared in under 90 minutes. 90 minutes. You are not winning that race. So, skip the fight. Here is what you do instead. You buy a WaterBob bathtub bladder from the emergency preparedness section, around $35, or you grab a box of heavy-duty contractor bags from the household goods aisle, around $18. You line your bathtub. You fill it before municipal water pressure drops. That gives you 60-plus gallons of clean drinking water, secured in silence while everyone else throws elbows over 40 packs at the front of the store. One device, one bathtub, one full week of water for a family of 4. Still grab a flat of water if it is there, but your real supply comes from the tap before the pumps die. The moment the grid fails, municipal water pressure starts dropping within hours as pumping stations run out of backup fuel. Total cost for this setup under $40. That is your water solution for a family of 4 for a full week. And nobody else in that Costco is thinking this way. Number 2, batteries. Every person in that Costco is grabbing the same AA Alkaline 100 count pack off the end cap. Let them. You are walking straight to the electronics section. You are picking up Panasonic Eneloop rechargeable lithium cells, around $45 for a 16-pack. Here is the difference that matters. Lithium rechargeables outlast standard alkaline 3-to-1 per cycle, and you recharge them indefinitely. Pair them with a Costco Goal Zero folding solar panel, around $100 in the same section. Now you have infinite power on a loop. Alkaline batteries are a consumable. You use them once, they are dead, and you need more. Lithium rechargeables are an investment. While everyone else burns through their alkaline supply in 72 hours, you are recharging yours with sunlight on your back porch. The electronics section at Costco does not get raided during a panic. People do not think past the battery end cap. That is your window. Under $150 total gets you permanent power for flashlights, radios, and headlamps for years. Number 3, canned goods. The soup aisle is a war zone. Chunky soup is gone. Canned chicken is gone. Tuna is gone. Do not even walk down there. Go straight to the Costco International Food section and the baking supplies. Grab organic coconut milk 6 packs, around $10. Then grab ghee jars, around $15 for a 32-ounce jar. Here is why this matters. Calorie density per ounce destroys standard soup and tuna. 1 can of coconut milk delivers over 600 calories. 1 jar of ghee pushes past 3,500 calories. Compare that to a can of chicken noodle sitting at 150 calories. Your body needs fuel in a grid-down scenario, not comfort food. During every documented panic event, these aisles stay fully stocked. Nobody touches them. People grab what they recognize, not what actually sustains them. Your body does not care about brand names. It cares about calories per ounce. Ghee also has an 18-month shelf life at room temperature with no refrigeration required, which is something regular butter cannot do. Coconut milk in cans lasts 3 to 5 years sealed. Under $30 gets you over 5,000 calories of shelf-stable fuel that nobody else in the store is even looking at. Write that down. Number 4. Propane and butane canisters. Costco seasonal section, usually near the camping gear in spring and summer. Most people forget fuel entirely until it is too late. Here is the dependency chain nobody thinks about. No grid means no stove. No stove means no hot water. No hot water means no way to boil and purify. Fuel is the bottleneck behind every other survival function you are building. A Coleman single-burner camp stove runs about $25. A 4-pack of butane canisters costs under $15 at Costco seasonal pricing. Together, they give you the ability to cook, sterilize water, and generate heat for days. Without fuel, half the supplies in your cart become useless. You cannot eat raw rice. You cannot purify questionable water from a creek. You cannot sterilize a needle. You cannot boil pasta, cook eggs, or brew coffee when the power stays out for 4 days. Grab the canisters now. This aisle empties quietly. No crowds, no fights, just informed people who planned ahead. Total under $40 for a complete cooking setup that runs for 2 weeks on moderate use. Store the canisters in a cool, dry place away from direct sunlight, and they hold full pressure for 8+ years. Number 5, first aid and over-the-counter medication. Ibuprofen clears the pharmacy section fast. Bandages disappear. Antibiotic ointment is gone within the first hour. You already know that part. Here is what you do not know. Walk to the Costco pet section. Grab veterinary-grade triple antibiotic ointment. Same USP-grade active ingredients, bacitracin, neomycin, and polymyxin B as the human version sitting 4 aisles over in the pharmacy. Lower price point. Completely overlooked. Nobody checks the pet section during a crisis. Nobody. You are also grabbing the largest ibuprofen bottle you can find, 1,000 count for around $10, plus a full box of butterfly closure strips. Butterfly strips handle lacerations that would otherwise need stitches at an emergency room. No emergency room is taking walk-ins during a grid-down event. Hospitals triage to critical only within 6 hours of any major infrastructure failure. You are your own first responder now. The pet section is your shadow pharmacy. Same active ingredients, zero competition at the register. Under $50 total for a first aid setup that handles everything from minor cuts to 3-inch lacerations, plus pain and fever management for a family of 4 for 6 months. Number 6, fire starters. Everyone grabs the disposable lighter 4-pack at the checkout. Fine. They work until they do not. Fuel leaks, flint wears out. Get them wet once and you are done. Walk to the Costco health and beauty section instead. Grab acetone-based nail polish remover, around $10 for a 32-ounce bottle. I know how that sounds. Stay with me. Here's the specification that matters. Acetone ignites below freezing, down to -4 degrees Fahrenheit. Regular lighter fluid fails at 32 degrees. One bottle soaks dozens of cotton ball tinder bundles that light instantly, even in rain and snow. Competitive fire starters sold at camping stores cost $15 for 4 cubes. One bottle of acetone gives you 50+ ignitions for $10. But this is the second layer. Acetone doubles as a surface disinfectant at hospital-grade evaporation rates. kills bacteria on contact, and flashes off in seconds, leaving no residue. It dissolves adhesives so you can separate clothing fused to a burn wound without ripping skin. It strips rust off cast iron pans, so your camping cookware lasts the duration. 1 bottle, 4 critical functions, 10. The beauty aisle stays empty during every panic. People grab lighters and walk away. You know better. Now pay attention to this one. Number 7. Feminine hygiene products. This is the item I mentioned at the top, the one sitting in Costco aisle 200 that combat medics have carried since Viet Ultra Thin Pads. 192 count box for around $15. Individually wrapped, sterile, engineered to absorb fluid under pressure. Medics have used them as improvised wound packing and post-operative dressings for decades. You tear the wrapper, press the pad directly onto a bleeding wound, secure it with duct tape or an ACE wrap from your first aid kit, and the super-absorbent polymer core soaks up to 10 times its weight in blood and fluid. That is field medicine with a product you can buy for 8 cents per pad in a bulk Costco box. But here's the second layer. In a grid-down scenario, actual hygiene supplies become irreplaceable within days. Barter value goes through the roof. Women and teenage girls in your neighborhood and your family need these, and the supply chain does not come back online for weeks. Nobody is panic buying pads during a crisis. Nobody. You are grabbing 2 to 3 boxes. They serve as medical tools, hygiene essentials, and high-value trade goods. 3 functions, 1 aisle, 0 competition. Write that down. After Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico, a 16-count box of name brand pads was trading for a full day of generator fuel within 2 weeks. A $15 Costco box becomes $200 of barter value overnight. Number 8. Vodka, 1.75-liter bottle, around $22. Yes, really. Everyone is fighting over Gatorade in the sports drink aisle. Let them. You are walking to the liquor section if your state allows Costco to sell it. Here is why this matters. 80-proof vodka is 40% alcohol by volume. That is hospital-grade wound disinfectant in a bottle at a fraction of the cost. During the 1990s Yugoslav conflict, when the dinar collapsed and cash became worthless within weeks, vodka became the de facto currency because every household used it for sterilization, fuel, and barter. Vodka does all 3. It sterilizes wounds in the field when you run out of iodine. It cleans medical instruments between uses. It runs an alcohol-fueled camp stove like the Trangia burner. It trades at premium value in any post-disaster economy. Cash becomes worthless in 48 hours during a sustained grid-down event. Vodka retains value for months. At $22 a bottle, you are buying medical supplies, stove fuel, and trading currency for under $25. Grab 2 bottles. Number 9, raw unfiltered honey, 6-pound jar, around $25. Here is what most people never realized. Honey does not expire. Archaeologists working in Egyptian tombs have found honey that is over 3,000 years old, sealed in clay pots, still edible and still chemically active. In a grid-down scenario, that matters more than any expiration date on a can of beans, but the shelf life is just the start. Raw honey is naturally antibacterial. A 2011 study published in the Journal of Wound Care confirmed that medical-grade honey, including Manuka and raw unfiltered varieties, kills MRSA on contact. Field medics have used honey for burn dressings since World War I, when sterile gauze and antibiotic supplies ran out in frontline aid stations. 1 6-pound jar of raw honey gives you 3,000 plus calories of shelf-stable energy per pound. A topical antibiotic for cuts, scrapes, and burns, a cough suppressant when pharmacies close, and one of the highest value barter items in any collapse economy. That is 4 functions from $125 jar. The grocery aisle stays calm during a panic. People fight over bottled water, while this jar of medical-grade fuel sits untouched on the shelf. Store it at room temperature, sealed, and it outlasts any canned good in your pantry by a factor of 100. Number 10, heavy-duty aluminum foil, 500 square feet, around $20. Most underestimated item in any Costco run. 1 roll, 20, dozens of survival functions at roughly 50 cents per use. Here is what has been documented from military field operations and disaster relief deployments. Signal reflector visible from helicopters over 500 meters in daylight, shaped into an X on the ground. Improvised Faraday cage for radios, flashlights, and USB chargers during electromagnetic pulse events. 3 layers of foil wrapped tight blocks most destructive frequencies. Water boiling container when shaped over a fire pit. Heat reflector that doubles the radiant warmth inside a small shelter. Antenna ground plane for emergency shortwave radio reception. 5 functions from 1 roll. During the 2017 Hurricane Maria response in Puerto Rico, aluminum foil was among the most requested improvised supplies in field hospitals and shelter sites. You cannot replicate this versatility with any specialized gear. 1 roll costs the same as a dinner at a chain restaurant, and does 10 times more than a $200 military signal panel. The baking aisle stays fully stocked during every panic because nobody thinks past cookie sheets. That is your window. Grab 2 rolls, store them flat in a dry place, and they stay functional for 30+ years. Number 11. Waxed dental floss. 6-pack of spools for around $12. This is the closer that nobody expects. Green Berets in jungle warfare training carried waxed dental floss as lightweight cordage because it holds over 100 pounds of tensile strength per strand in a spool that weighs less than a pack of gum. 1 6-pack gives you 300+ yards of multi-use cordage for $12. Here is what you do with it. Improvise sutures for deep lacerations after you sterilize the thread with your vodka from item 8. Fishing line for food procurement at any pond, lake, or stream within walking distance. Snare wire for small game like rabbits and squirrels. Emergency shoelaces when yours rip during a 3-day walk home. Clothesline for drying washed clothes when the power is out. Shelter rigging when you need to secure a tarp between trees or to a vehicle. 6 functions, 6 spools, $12 total. The oral care section stays completely untouched during every panic. People grab toothpaste and mouthwash and move on. They never pause at the floss end cap. You are walking out with 300 yards of tactical cordage for the price of a pizza, and nobody in that store understands what you just did. Waxed floss resists water better than unwaxed, does not rot when wet, and cuts cleanly with a pocket knife. Store the spools in a zip-top bag, and they last 20+ years with full tensile strength. Number 12. Clumping cat litter. 35-pound bag for around $15. Here is why this item ends the list. Your biggest hidden threat in a grid-down scenario is not hunger. It is not even dehydration. It is sanitation. When plumbing fails, human waste becomes a disease vector within 72 hours. Cholera, dysentery, and hepatitis. Outbreak rates spike dramatically in disaster zones, where municipal sewage systems go offline. During Hurricane Katrina, disease outbreaks claimed more lives than dehydration did in the first week after landfall. Cat litter solves the problem. 1 5-gallon bucket lined with a contractor bag, a handful of clumping clay litter at the bottom, and you have an improvised toilet that controls odor, absorbs liquid, and isolates bacteria for days at a time. The clumping action seals waste in solid masses for safe disposal later. Beyond sanitation, cat litter absorbs oil spills from generators, melts ice on walkways as a traction aid, and dehumidifies basements and bunkers. Grab 2 bags for $30 and you are solving the one problem that claimed more lives in Katrina than the storm surge itself. Now here is the part nobody wants to hear. The 3-hour window closes faster than you think. In Texas during February 2021, Costco parking lots jammed solid within 90 minutes of the grid going down. Puerto Rico, after Maria, under 2 hours. Hurricane Helene in 2024. Regional Costco locations in North Carolina reported empty pallets within 90 minutes of storm surge warnings. The next event might give you less. The 12 items on this list cost under $500 combined at Costco prices. The same supplies during an active crisis, if you could find them at all, would run you $3,000 or more at whatever the black market decides to charge. Every item solves a problem nobody talks about until it is already too late. Every item is in a Costco aisle that civilians do not think to check during a panic. Every item is under $50. Do not wait for the grid to fail to start thinking about this. The veterans I have worked with, the ones who survived 2 or 3 real grid down events in different cities, Keep a standing Costco list taped to the fridge. They rotate stock every 6 months. They know every aisle. They do not panic when the lights go out because they already did their shopping 3 weeks ago. You should too. 1 cart, 12 items, 3 hours. That is the difference between being prepared and being the person pounding on a locked Costco door at 9 p.m. on a Wednesday when the power is already out. If this video helped you, hit the subscribe button and drop a comment below with your own Costco grid down find. Next week, I break down the exact Home Depot list for grid collapse scenarios. Same format, same 3-hour window. 12 items civilians never think about. Stay ready.